Throughout history, humanity has bore witness to some of the most violent criminals known to mankind. Jack the Ripper, the Zodiac Killer, Chris McClane from Total Drama Island. However, one sick individual stands out among all of them. People tremble at the mere mention of his name, and his presence sends chills down the spines of all who meet him. His name? Dr. Quack. Yes, despite being a cute and wholesome game about raising plush animals, Webkinz was revealed to have a dark underbelly as rumours swelled about dangerous and violent content. A malicious virus shutting down PCs, a vengeful ex-employee hacking into the game to corrupt accounts, and an evil duck character maiming innocent Webkinz. So what was going on here? Who was Dr. Quack's, and could these rumours really be true? No. No, the answer is no, they couldn't. But the story and development of the Webkinz killer is really funny and interesting to me, so today let's take a look at it. Before we proceed, I just want to give a huge thank you to Disney Dreamlight Valley for sponsoring this video. So I'm a really big fan of like casual simulator games that you can just relax and unwind with, which is why I bought this game literally the day it came out, and which is also why I'm so excited to share it with you guys today. Disney Dreamlight Valley is a cozy life simulator adventure game where you can meet and build relationships with tons of Disney and Pixar characters, customize your character with hundreds of clothes and accessories, forage and craft items and decorations, and build your dream village. The story sends you on an epic quest to save Dreamlight Valley from a mysterious force called the Forgetting by traveling to new worlds, making new friends, and solving the puzzles of the valley to uncover lost memories and secrets. It's the cozy season, guys. For many of you that might mean cuddling up to the fire with a hot cocoa or rewatching nostalgic movies with a hearty meal. For me it just means like sweating and being sunburned a lot because it's summer in New Zealand. But warm days out in the sun don't stop me from playing because the game is multi-platform, so I can play it on the go on my Switch as well as on PC, PlayStation, and Xbox. There's tons of new content coming this season, from the new Toy Story realm with brand new characters Buzz Lightyear and Woody, to the new festive Star Path season which adds tons of amazing new clothing, furniture, and accessories, to the surprise appearance of a brand new character in the valley, which I won't spoil for you, but as a little hint, go to Dazzle Beach, wink wink nudge nudge. Honestly, Disney Dreamlight Valley has like all of my favorite things in a game, from fun and lovable characters, to adventuring in an open world, to farming, fishing, questing, and engaging story, and obviously tons and tons of customization, which is very much my speed. Honestly, if a game does not have an in-depth character customization system, I don't want to play it. I'm sorry. Buy the Founders Pack edition of your choice and get early access to Disney Dreamlight Valley today. Thank you so much to Disney Dreamlight Valley for sponsoring this video, and now let's get back into the Webkinz killer urban legend. Webkinz was actually pretty unique in the kids' virtual world space. Rather than creating a virtual world and then putting out merch and plushes after it became popular, they put the proverbial cart before the plush horse. In April of 2005, Canadian toy company Gans released a series of plushies with codes that kids could use to unlock the Webkinz website, where they could interact, play with, and dress up their pet in an online virtual world. It had all the staples of a classic kids game: customization, multiplayer games, shopping and rare items, and chat features. It was definitely aimed at a younger demographic, but the whole secret plush code thing made it pretty appealing to kids. It was like a secret club that you could only be part of if your parents were willing to spend upwards of $30 for a toy lion. So yeah, Webkinz was pretty innovative for its time, and though there are many things that set it apart from other games of its ilk, some things will always stay the same, namely the fact that there will always be urban legend creepypastas. Pretty much every single game that I played as a kid, no matter how sweet and kid-friendly it was, had some sort of spooky myth attached to it. A story of the game becoming corrupted and evil, or more commonly, an evil demonic hacker character that would steal all your items and then come to your house IRL. Animal Jam had F-Man 122 and the Lost Jammer, shadowy hackers that would stalk you through the game and corrupt your account. Movie Star Planet had Anonymous and the Cult and the Dolly, and Neopets, well, Neopets had actual hackers that leaked the personal data of thousands of users, so that one's less fun. A lot of people are confused by the fact that most of these kind of sickly sweet sanitized kids games tend to have these kind of intense urban legend spooky tales attached to them, and I think it's just the fact that kids around that age are naturally drawn to slightly more edgy content. Around that age, you're constantly changing and discovering new things and growing out of things that you think are for babies, so when a spooky hacker man is apparently hacking into your game, you do find that scary, but you also find it kind of exciting. Combine this with the fact that kids tend to be pretty gullible and prone to exaggeration or outright fabrication with these sort of fantastical stories, and you have a recipe for an urban legend that's gonna spread like wildfire. That's where Dr. Quack comes in, aka a convicted felon. I mean aka the resident doctor. In the original game he ran a medical clinic and would give your pet checkups as well as treating them when they were sick and giving you caretaking advice. According to the Webkinz wiki, he cured all illness in 2015 and subsequently retired because his job was obsolete, and since then has been successfully elected and re-elected as mayor. So yeah, he's had quite the illustrious career. I'm waiting with bated breath for the Dr. Quack autobiography hitting stores this Christmas. But we're not here to talk about Dr. Quack's achievements in the field of science and politics, we're here to talk about the terrible, terrible rumours around him. So the name Webkinz Killer is kind of misleading. Specific characters or killers are sometimes featured, but it's more of a term to describe any general creepy anomaly within the game. And the specifics of this creepy anomaly tend to differ depending on who you heard the rumour from. Some said that a disgruntled employee put a virus into the game that would wipe players' BIOS systems and brick their PCs. Some said that a black box would appear in your room with a shadowy killer inside that would pop out and kill your pets. And then of course there was the classic Dr. Quack murderer theory. In some versions of the story, if you visited the clinic at midnight, Dr. Quack's eyes would glow red and he'd pull out a chainsaw, and in others you'd have to click the poster on the wall 32 times to enrage him, and in others still he would give your pets a pill or medical treatment that would knock him dead. This image was commonly spread alongside the story, and despite being extremely unconvincing nowadays, it tricked plenty of gullible kids into believing that Dr. Quack was a chainsaw wielding maniac out to get them. Alternate versions of the story replaced Dr. Quack with other characters such as Mrs. Birdie and Miss Tabby Von Meow, claiming them to be killers and often including some subplot where they dress up as Dr. Quack and try to frame him. The lore runs deep in Webkinz. As you can probably tell, and as is the case with a lot of these kids' urban legends, the details vary wildly and make little sense, but that doesn't matter. It's scary and so it's gonna spread quickly. It's hard to pinpoint the exact post that started the rumour. We know that it started spreading in early 2007, likely around January or February, but it appears to have been spread primarily through real-life playground gossip and email chain letters, so tangible examples are scarce. Thankfully, the website Snopes.com, a site that used to be dedicated to debunking internet hoaxes before it turned into whatever BuzzFeed shit this is, has a page on the Webkinz Killer with several archived emails from 2007 that shed a lot of light on how the rumour was spread. Quote, "My kids came home from school yesterday telling me that they heard of a computer virus associated with their Webkinz. Webkinz are stuffed animals which you can buy and then somehow use the web to play games, etc. with friends who also have the animals. The virus comes on the screen as a penguin with red eyes and ruins your PC. What I am hearing is that several of the kids at school have logged onto their Webkinz, and when they check their house there is a killer bear roaming around with a knife and it stabs the other animals. Supposedly a neighbour logged into hers and one of her animals was found lying in a pool of blood. But a disgruntled ex-employee and a malicious duck practitioner weren't the only suspects in this whole case. Believe it or not, Neopets was frequently accused of being behind the Webkinz Killer in an attempt to bring the website down. My children came home from school today and all the talk in 1st and 2nd grade was of some kind of Webkinz malware. A black, red or yellow box appears in your Webkinz world. If you click on the black box, a Neopet pops out with a knife and chops your Webkinz head off. The red box does the same thing. If you click on a yellow box, you lose all your Webkinz possession and money. It sounds like a legend to me, but little kids are telling my kids this happened to me. I'm not sure what to think. This Webkinz virus thing is totally true. It happened to half of my friends on Webkinz. There is either some kind of gift on the floor or some kind of bomb thingy. It pops out at you like you got a gift, then Dr. Quack or Miss Birdie pops up, lights go out, red eyes come, it makes slashing noises on your computer, and then the lights turn on and your Webkinz are dead on the floor with blood on them. You probably think that Webkinz people would never do that. You are right, but Neopets would. Why? Because they got angry that everyone else went on Webkinz and no one went on Neopets anymore, so they hacked into Webkinz and put in some kind of virus. It is pretty scary for kids, so be careful what you do with your Webkinz and don't go to your room. It's pretty funny to look back at this now, but back during the big kids virtual world boom, there was a lot of animosity between different player bases. You had your classic Animal Jam vs Club Penguin, Woo's World vs Movie Star Planet, and of course Webkinz vs Neopets. There was a lot of discourse between the two sites because of this weird divide, and it eventually led to Webkinz players accusing Neopets of being behind the Webkinz Killer. Players claim to see evil Neopets pop out of boxes and kill their Webkinz, or they claim that Neopet staff were hacking into the game to delete accounts out of jealousy because their own game was failing. This obviously wasn't true, but I'm gonna lie and say it was true out of spite because Neopets will not leave me alone about their stupid metaverse project. I object to your emails asking me to advertise the metaverse for a number of reasons, but the main one is that you guys murdered all of those poor innocent Webkinz in 2007. For shame. After the Webkinz killer myth spread, more and more scary stories began popping up, each more ridiculous than the last. Players claim that if you kicked your Webkinz, the game would reward you. A hacker taking the form of a quote-unquote bloody hand had infiltrated the game and was stealing pets, and a bomb would appear in your virtual home. Eventually, these spooky stories got so out of hand that the Webkinz staff had to issue a public statement to try and protect their kid-safe brand. From a February 2007 bulletin post on the Webkinz official website, quote, "Concerned about a rumor? Many people have been writing and asking about a rumor that is going around. The rumor is about something in Webkinz world hurting Webkinz pets. The most important thing to know is that this rumor is not true at all. Nothing in Webkinz world would ever hurt your Webkinz pets. Everyone at Webkinz world headquarters works really hard to make Webkinz world a safe, happy, and fun place to play. We want you and your Webkinz pets to have a great time playing on the site. Please make sure to tell your friends that their pets are safe and the rumor is not true. Remember that we would never allow anything to hurt your Webkinz pets." While the Webkinz killer rumor is pretty funny and all of these exaggerated posts are pretty humorous to look at, this statement makes me genuinely kinda sad. The staff's emphatic reassurance that they weren't going to harm their Webkinz and that nothing bad would happen if they played the game might seem a bit silly, but there are tons and tons of posts that you can find online of kids being genuinely, earnestly scared of this fictional evildoer and scared that something was going to happen to their virtual pets. From the website scaryforkids.com, genuinely not even the first time I've used that site as a source on my channel, which is embarrassing. Quote, "Do you guys know that sometimes Mrs. Birdie dresses up like Dr. Quack and murders your Webkinz? She chopped off my friend's Webkinz head. I was there when it happened. I am very scared because my friend told me that a little Lilkins poodle came into her house and said, 'Warning, Mrs. Birdie is coming.' Then the lights went out, she heard a scream, and Miss Birdie came in dressed as Mr. Quack and killed all her Webkinz. Then a message appeared on the wall written in blood and it said, 'I'm always watching you. Love, Mrs. Birdie. Help me, I'm scared and I want my Webkinz to live.'" Okay, I am so telling the truth about this. The Webkinz killer is real. There was a black box on the floor of my friend's Webkinz, and when she clicked on it, a Neopet with a knife popped out and sliced her Webkinz head off. I remember my friend's sister came home from school crying when she heard about this. She was screaming, "I don't want my Webkinz to die." It made me feel bad for her. These kids were genuinely frightened by these legends. There are tons of comments from young, impressionable Webkinz players who heard these dark rumors at school or online and became deathly afraid of their pets suffering some terrible fate. As you've probably noticed, a lot of the 2007 emails are from parents, not kids, and yeah, the whole thing got so bad that tons of parents around the country were frantically emailing schools and even Webkinz themselves to demand answers. Parents were literally campaigning against Dr. Quack. He was a victim of cancel culture, there, I'll just say it. Parents were stepping in, Webkinz was issuing statements and apologies, and according to this Tumblr post by user Ant Diary, the game was even banned at their school because of the rumors. It was kind of a big mess. Despite how ridiculous all of this was, it's incredibly easy to see how it spread. Looking at the comments on any discussion of Dr. Quack, they're filled with kids very earnestly and unironically warning other players about their terrifying experiences and how they saw an evil Neopet pop out or they saw Dr. Quack's eyes glowing before he beheaded their Webkinz. There are tons of videos on YouTube dedicated to recounting personal experiences with Dr. Quack or the evil black box, and I don't think any of these young players were lying to be malicious or anything. They just got really swept up in the shock and drama of these spooky stories and wanted to join in, and I'm willing to bet that some of them just got so enthusiastic that they started kind of believing these fake stories that they made up. I remember as a kid sometimes getting wrapped up in stuff like this as well. One time I started telling everyone in my class that I was from San Francisco and telling them all of these really elaborate lies about my life there. I don't know why I did it, I kinda just genuinely believed it for a while there. Kids just get swept up in stuff like that, especially when it's on a kind of viral scale like the Webkinz killer rumor was. In a 2021 interview with the creative director of Neopets, Forbes specifically asked about the Webkinz killer and the response that they issued about it. Quote, "What is the staff's thoughts on the infamous rumors and copypastas, including the Webkinz killer? Funny or annoying? Really, really annoying. I mean, I should have seen it coming. As kids age up into their tween/early teen years, scary and gross humor becomes more popular. But we had worked so hard to keep the game kid-friendly and non-violent that hearing about kids honestly being scared that a virtual killer would kill their pets ticked me off. Writing those articles acknowledging the rumor was something I didn't want to do, but had to." While I do agree here, I would also be annoyed if the popularity of my game was hinged on the trust of parents who would quickly withdraw that trust if they heard about these stories, and I also feel bad for the kids who were scared off the game or traumatized by these photoshops and stories. It's just a natural part of the virtual world ecosystem. No matter how kid-friendly and butterflies and rainbows your game is, kids are gonna find a way to push the boundaries. It's just what happens. From a business standpoint, yes, I would be pissed, but from a personal experience standpoint, I had a lot of fun as a kid engaging with these goofy, overblown creepypasta stories. It was fun, I have good memories of it. Plus, they're just really funny to look back on because, oh, well, come on, just look at this thing. Believe it or not, Webkinz is still up and functioning today. They're primarily focusing on their new 3D virtual world, Webkinz Next, but like many other games of its era, the original remains up, now dubbed Webkinz Classic. The game is well over a decade old at this point and has basically faded from relevancy, so I don't see any more creepypasta stories around it coming up anytime soon, but you know, I could be wrong. You know, maybe the next thing that takes the internet by storm is going to be an unreality creepypasta ARG about Dr. Quack and his sick experiments. Thank you guys so much for watching, I really appreciate it. I really hope that you enjoyed that video topic. The Webkinz Killer is a classic. I had to cover it, I just had to. It's been on my list for a long time, so yeah, I really hope you enjoyed it. Sorry this one is a little bit shorter. I have a really long one coming up next, hopefully very soon, so yeah, definitely keep an eye out for that if you are interested. And yeah, also I wanted to mention, I didn't want to put an ad for it because I've been putting a lot of those in my videos and I don't want to like bombard you guys, but I do have new merch. If you want to check it out, it's on my website, izzies.com. Thank you so much to Disney Dreamlight Valley for sponsoring me. Honestly, so hyped to have them as a sponsor. I love that game. Yeah, that's basically it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate you, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye! A huge thank you to my Garfield overlords over on Patreon. Joe Bradshaw, Arcantilus, Astrian Vortex, Dozo Blint, Helm Hamburger Hand, GC Chisholm, Sheriff Whiskey, The Fabby Librarian, Ren Pendragon, Fish000, Grip Gunderson, John Leach, Xavier Aho, Charlie B, Simon, Jordan Nielsen, Dana Homegardner, SHSL Sun, Doug, Matt LRJ, Michelle Olsen, Jorge K. Cruz, Fitzy, Katrina Likes 5e Stuff, Electro Kitten, Blue Mayfeld, Caramel Coffee Bean, and Test Subject 0089. Thank you guys so much for the support, it means the world to me. If you want to join these guys over on Patreon, head to the link in the description. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye!